This ancient African empire produced artwork so advanced that when Europeans first saw it, they refused to believe Africans had made it. These are the Benin Bronzes, and they tell the story of a civilization so powerful and sophisticated it rivals any in history. But why was this incredible story almost erased from our history books? Today, we're journeying back in time to the Kingdom of Benin, located in what is now modern-day Nigeria. This wasn't just some small, isolated village. It was one of the oldest and most highly developed states in West Africa, flourishing for centuries. Founded way back around the 11th century, the Benin Empire reached its golden age between the 15th and 19th centuries, building a society that would leave a legacy still being debated today. At the very heart of this empire was a figure of immense power and spiritual significance, the Oba, or the king. The Oba wasn't just a political leader. He was considered a divine being, the central pillar holding the kingdom together. This wasn't a loose collection of tribes. Benin had a highly centralized government, a complex bureaucracy, and a well-organized administration that managed everything from trade to military campaigns. The Oba's court was a vibrant center of culture and power. And it was the Oba who commissioned the thousands of artworks that would make Benin legendary. These weren't just decorations. They were a royal archive, a visual history of the kingdom's rulers, traditions, and epic events, all meant to glorify the Oba and preserve the empire's story for eternity. But the genius of Benin wasn't confined to its art. The capital, Benin City, was an engineering marvel that left early European visitors completely stunned. Imagine a city protected by a massive network of moats and ramparts, huge earthen walls. If you were to add up the total length of this defensive system, it was once estimated to be longer than the Great Wall of China. It was one of the largest earthworks in the world. Inside these walls was a city laid out with incredible precision. Streets were organized in a grid-like pattern, leading to a sprawling royal palace with countless courtyards and galleries. A Portuguese explorer in the 1600s described it as a city of great size and order, with houses kept neat and clean. This was a metropolis that defied every colonial stereotype about Africa being primitive. It was organized, it was clean, and it was breathtaking in its scale. Now, let's talk about the treasures that made this kingdom immortal, the Benin Bronzes. And when we say bronzes, we're talking about a breathtaking collection of over 3,000 masterpieces. These weren't just bronze, they were cast in brass and carved from ivory, each piece telling a story. These plaques and sculptures weren't simple crafts. They were created using a highly advanced technique called lost wax casting. This method allows for incredible detail, and the artists of Benin were masters of it, creating lifelike portraits of their Obas, queen mothers, warriors, and even visiting European traders. Each piece was a historical document, recording coronations, sacred rituals, and pivotal battles. They were the kingdom's history books, cast in metal and ivory, meant to last forever. The level of detail, from the patterns on their clothing to the expressions on their faces, is simply mind-blowing. This was art that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the masterpieces of the European Renaissance. So, what happened when Europeans finally laid their eyes on this incredible art? Utter disbelief. The year is 1897. British forces have just invaded and captured Benin City. When they discovered these thousands of intricate bronze plaques and sculptures, their first reaction was not admiration, but denial. The prevailing racist attitude of the time was that Africa was a dark continent incapable of producing anything of cultural or artistic value. So, they invented theories. They claimed that these artworks must have been made by the ancient Egyptians, or perhaps by lost Portuguese explorers, anyone but the people of Benin. The very existence of the Benin Bronzes was a direct challenge to the colonial narrative. It was irrefutable proof of a highly sophisticated African civilization, and it completely contradicted the racist justifications used to colonize the continent. This leads us to one of the most tragic chapters in Benin's history: the British invasion of 1897. After a period of rising tensions over trade and control, a British delegation was ambushed, leading to what the British called the Punitive Expedition. A massive force of British soldiers marched on Benin City. What followed was devastation. The city was systematically looted and then burned to the ground. The great walls were breached, the palace was ransacked, and the kingdom's most sacred treasures, the thousands of bronze and ivory artworks that chronicled their entire history, were stolen. These weren't just spoils of war, they were the soul of a nation ripped from their home. The bronzes were shipped to London and auctioned off to pay for the expedition. From there, they were scattered across the globe, ending up in the private collections and public museums of Europe and the United States, from the British Museum in London to institutions in Germany and America. The empire fell, and its historical records were now held captive thousands of miles away. For over a century, these stolen artifacts have been displayed in Western museums, often presented as trophies of a colonial past, or simply as exotic art, completely disconnected from their sacred origins and the violent history of their theft. But that narrative is finally changing. Today, there's a powerful global movement demanding their return. Nigeria has been campaigning for the restitution of the Benin Bronzes for decades, arguing that these are not just objects. They are an essential part of their cultural and spiritual heritage, and the world is starting to listen. In recent years, we've seen a major shift. Countries like Germany have committed to returning over 1,000 bronzes. Universities in the UK, like Cambridge and Aberdeen, have returned the pieces they held. The Smithsonian in the United States has also sent back its collection. The debate is no longer if they should be returned, but how and when. It's a historic moment of reckoning with a colonial past and a recognition that these masterpieces belong in Nigeria, in the land of the kingdom that created them. This raises a crucial question. Why aren't stories like the Benin Empire taught more widely in our schools? Why do so many of us grow up hearing about the Romans and the Greeks, but not about the great civilizations of Africa? The answer is tied directly to the history of colonialism. For centuries, European powers promoted a version of history that justified their colonial projects. This narrative often erased or downplayed the achievements of non-European peoples. By portraying Africa as a continent without history or culture, it made colonization seem like a civilizing mission rather than an act of conquest and exploitation. The story of the Benin Empire, with its advanced political system, its incredible engineering, and its world-class art, directly challenges that biased narrative. It proves that sophisticated, wealthy, and powerful civilizations thrived in Africa long before Europeans arrived. Teaching this history is not just about correcting the record, it's about giving African civilizations their rightful place in our shared human story. So, the next time you see a Benin bronze in a museum, remember what you're truly looking at. You're not just seeing a beautiful artifact, you're seeing evidence. Evidence of a brilliant, innovative, and powerful civilization. Evidence of a history that was looted, burned, and systematically suppressed. And evidence of a people's enduring spirit as they fight to bring their stolen history back home. The Benin Bronzes are a testament to a glorious past that the world tried and failed to erase. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as powerful as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe for more hidden histories, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.